Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine.
Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. My name is Ben Tuine. Today I'm your solo host. Jordan Comstock is out for today. In fact, at this very hour, Jordan's wife is being induced, so we wish Jordan well and his wife, and we hope all things turn out well for the delivery of their new baby. So that's where Jordan is at. And folks, we want to apologize for the podcast. We've been so busy for the last several weeks, or in fact, the last couple of months. I've been on the road and traveling, and Jordan has been doing podcasts solo, so have I. But now, coming on the summer months, things should start to settle down, and we have a bunch of awesome guests that have lined up. One of which today we got Naren Arulrajah on the phone with us from Canada. How are you, Naren?
I'm fine, thank you, Ben. I really appreciate the opportunity. I also spoke to Jordan, so I'm looking forward to an exciting time with you, Ben, today.
We look forward to chatting with. Well, I look forward to chatting with you. We had to postpone this from last week, and that was my fault. I couldn't get my audio and recording and stuff put together. You know, these podcasts are kind of like mini radio shows, and if you don't have your technology pieces put together, you can't record. So that's what happened last week.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, before we get started with you, I just want to put a shout out there. We are doing, Jordan and I both are speaking at a conference this fall. It's October 4th and October 5th with Links to Success. This is a medical billing conference, where doctors and staff team members learn how to bill medical insurance. And what I'm learning is, as a dental insurance expert myself, I'm learning that many things can be covered under the medical billing side. There's just a unique process for you to get things covered, and it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just take one course and learn tomorrow how to do it. I've been learning for the last 3 years, and I have a pretty good understanding of what's involved in the medical billing side of things. So if you're interested in the Links to Success conference, just email Jordan or myself. We'll send you an invitation to that meeting. He and I will both be speaking separately. It's a 2-day conference, October 4th and 5th. That's a Thursday and Friday, so we'd love to see you folks there if anybody's interested in attending that. So now on to Naren. Naren, you're currently in, you're based out of Toronto, right?
That is correct. I'm in a suburb of Toronto called Mississauga, Ontario.
Yeah, that's right. Is the airport in Mississauga, or is it? I know that when we flew in, it's kind of close to it, right? Or
yeah, it is. It is in Mississauga.
That's awesome. We have a lot of friends in Canada. In fact, we're doing a lot of business for some people in Canada right now, and they're all based out of Toronto. So we're flying up there every other month just to button up some contracts and stuff. And I got to tell you, I've been to foreign countries before, and I never really realized that Canada would be too much different than the United States. I think the only difference for me is that harmonized sales tax. Do you charge that as to U.S.-based customers, or?
No, we don't. I mean, the good thing is because of NAFTA, we don't have to charge taxes to Americans, and if vice versa, if Americans are selling things to Canadians, they don't have to charge Canadian taxes.
Gotcha.
So actually, people get a break because they don't have to pay the taxes, because it's like otherwise you have to pay sales taxes.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, otherwise, I think Toronto is a beautiful city. My wife and I usually stay at the DoubleTree downtown, and when you get downstairs just to the ground level, there's like 4 different ramen shops. There's a Korean. I mean, within a half a mile, you have a variety of different restaurants to pick from. The last time we went to this ramen shop, and what attracted us is in the window we saw a guy spinning noodles, and you don't see this too often anywhere in the world. Actually, you don't see ramen shops making noodles from scratch. And it was the first time my wife and I actually had scratch-made noodles. We've never had them before, but we're hooked. We're headed back out to Toronto here in a couple months, and our first destination is to go to that ramen shop to get some of those noodles. They're so good.
I think I heard somewhere that Toronto has one of the largest Chinese and Asian communities in North America. I don't know if it's number 1 or number 2 or number 3, but it's up there. It's a pretty lots and lots of people from all over the world make their home here. So you get all kinds of stuff here.
It's a melting pot. It's just amazing how diverse it is, and the underground system there in the city is impressive. I think you have a few systems like that. I think there's a smaller one in Atlanta, but I've never been to an elaborate underground. It's basically a community underground, and it's amazing.
Right. Especially the wintertime, it's very, very useful because my kids, for example, go to school in the city of Toronto, and they can just get around very easily. It's like
yeah,
because they know how to move around as streetcars and buses and underground trains and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Well, for those of you that may know Naren, he appeared on the Thriving Dentist podcast show and the Dental Success Institute with Dr. Mark Casas. I'm just going to read some background about him. So Naren, he is a well-known medical marketing entrepreneur, an accomplished author, speaker, consultant, and the founder and CEO of Ekwa Marketing. Did I get that right? Ekwa Marketing, right?
Yes, ekwa.com, Ekwa Marketing.
Awesome. So he's also a host of a very popular podcast show, and we'll post his podcast link in our show notes to this episode. So Naren also, he's established the Ekwa Growth Club, as well as the Ekwa Institute to help doctors in the U.S. and worldwide to achieve their goals through digital innovation. In recognition of his industry innovation and leadership, Naren was conferred the 2014 Leadership Innovative Award by the AceTech Ontario, a preeminent nonprofit promotional global technology for entrepreneurs. So that's an amazing leadership award that you got there back in 2014. So Naren, in terms of marketing, there's one thing that you hear, the quote that we keep hearing from you is, you say, "I consider myself an Imagineer on a mission to deliver out-of-the-box digital marketing solutions for doctors, which others are not even contemplating." So let's talk about that for a minute. When it comes to digital marketing solutions for the medical industry and the dental industry, when you say things that people are not contemplating, can you give us some examples of what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a funny joke. There was a story that I heard a long time back. This is in the 60s. Couple of these guys who are advertising executives in those days. In those days we didn't have the internet or any of that stuff, and they were sitting in the back of a cab, and the guy goes, "So what do you guys do?" Well, we are in the advertising business, and the cab driver says, "Oh no, advertising doesn't influence me. It doesn't really has no effect over me." And then the passenger says, "Okay, what toothpaste do you use?" "Oh, I use Colgate." "Why do you use Colgate?" "I don't know, but I just use Colgate." Right. So, marketing is about the subconscious mind. A lot of times great marketing is marketing you don't even realize is happening.
Yeah.
So, what I have been really excited, my background is I have been a computer science major in my university career, and then I ended up running particular products for large enterprise software companies, and then getting fired 4 times in a row. And then I ended up, starting my business around 15 years ago. And today we have 180 people. So, what I love personally is, kind of noticing some of these underlying principles that govern us as human beings, and then figuring out how to apply those principles with the help of the technology we have today. The Googles, the Facebooks, the softwares, all of that stuff. So our clients, have a leg up. We generate 500,000 phone calls every single year for our clients.
Wow.
And these are all doctors. So, so it's fun though. It's just, I love it because I love to try new things and see what works and what doesn't. And when things work, we do more of it. So I just love, waking up in the morning and, doing interesting stuff. So the word Imagineer is, okay, how do we take these principles that govern us as human beings and then figuring out how do we leverage that with technology to give our clients an advantage in the marketplace?
Yeah. It's kind of a subtle form, the subtle marketing. Like we do a lot of that here. It's funny because when people ask me what my budget is for marketing, each year I probably spend 0.001% of our total revenue in marketing. In the beginning, we spend a lot more. And a lot of it is what you mentioned. People don't know they're being marketed to. In some way, somehow, we get referrals coming in from systems and from things that we put in place 10 years ago. And the word kind of gets out, whether it be through social media, study clubs that we've spoken at, or various different organizations. People receive a form of marketing. It's funny, I put out this video called The 7 Steps on How to Negotiate with Insurance Carriers. And everybody started to promote it. So this was back in 2012. To this day, I still get calls off of that one video series. It's amazing.
Right.
I'm not a marketing expert at all. I just throw things out there, and all of a sudden, years later, we get phone calls. But I imagine that yours is a lot more structured than that, right? In terms of digital marketing and things that, more than just for the pay per click, right?
Exactly. So we have a total of 180 people who work for us. So it's a pretty large team. We are broken into 40 different areas. And some of those areas are products. And products, the way I look at it is it's self-sustained. It has a purpose. It does something and it works. And then we have services team that then do additional things for our clients on a custom basis. And then we bring all of it together for Ekwa clients where we do it all. So a typical Ekwa client will have access to 18 different products and services. If I were to give you an example, one of the principles of influence is authority. We tend to listen to people who we think are experts, just in our human nature, right? I mean, a negative example is Hitler,
Right.
So many people helped him murder 65 million Jews. He didn't do it himself. He didn't take a gun and, blow up 65 million people. But there were hundreds of thousands of people. And then they've done all kinds of studies to show that if Hitler was in a different country, perhaps the same thing may have happened because just the way he did it, it's just scary looking back, but it actually happened. Now, a positive example of that is, Oprah would go on the Oprah show and say, hey, I love this book. You all should read this book. And all of a sudden, 100,000 people go and buy that book and it's sold out. It climbs to the #1 best-selling list of all time, et cetera, right? That's a positive example of authority. And the reason is we have been taught, not just, in our lifetime, but for, thousands of years to listen to authority figures. If you trace back history, we had leaders and kings and tribes and the chief of the tribe, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. So we have been taught to listen to authority figures. It has been in our blood almost. And even when a child is born, I'm sure anybody who's a parent knows that a lot of times your kids will listen more to their teachers than to you as the parent. Because they see the teacher as an authority figure, and that's in us. So how can we help our clients who are doctors be seen as authority figures? I mean, there are shortcuts. Why do people write books? Because most people who buy your book are never going to read it. But when they see that you are the author of the book, they think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's scary, but that's just the way our mind works.
It's the greatest business card out there is a book.
Exactly. Or like we have this mindset that anybody who's on TV must be important because otherwise they won't be on TV. It's just in our mindset. So, a lot of smart marketing people, I'm sure, hire a PR firm to get on all kinds of TV shows and then say, hey, I was on this show, I was on that show. So whether the person watched the show or not, by saying that I have been featured on these 6 places, you are now positioning yourself as an authority. So we have a product, for example, called Doctor's Choice Awards. We built this because, it was fun, interesting, and nobody else had it. So anytime we see an opportunity, we go and do it. So the idea is we have all these review websites. Patients are reviewing you and your competitors are using it to hurt you and your disgruntled employees are using it to take revenge on you. I mean, all this mess going on. Right. And the problem is, as a doctor, you cannot respond because of HIPAA. So even when it's a lie or untruth, you cannot do anything. You really have to just take it. Mm-hmm. You cannot say, oh, I checked through my charts and what this person is saying is untrue. You cannot do it because then you're violating HIPAA. So it's like having doctors, box with both of their hands tied behind their back. So we were thinking, is there a different way to play this game? So we came up with this Doctor's Choice Awards. And the idea is anytime you are really, really, you really need the best, you're not going to just listen to an average person on the street. You're going to listen to other doctors. So the concept is this platform, doctorschoiceawards.org, it's free. Anybody can use it. Allows you to have your colleagues who know you, who have, built a relationship with you over the years. Could be people you went to school with, could be people you refer patients or they refer patients to you. All kinds of people you have met who happen to be doctors. They don't even have to be dentists. They can be other types of doctors. So they would write a review for you. Now, think about it. That's an authority figure writing a review for you. If you go to a bookstore and flip through a book in the personal development section, and you look at the back cover, right? We always look at the back cover to see what others say of the book. Whose testimonials or reviews do you see? It's people in the industry.
Right.
So if it's in the personal development section, you're going to see a review from Tony Robbins. Hey, I know Tony Robbins. Yeah. If Tony Robbins thinks this is a good book and he's an expert in personal development, it must be a good book. That's our mindset, right? Let's say you're reading a book on politics, and there'll be a quote from a famous politician saying this is one of the best books you should read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're like, oh, this guy knows. I mean, if the president says this must be a good book, it must be a good book. He knows one or two things about politics, right? That's our mindset. So the idea here is let's get reviews from doctors. So we have more than 4,000 doctors who have reviews from hundreds or thousands. Some doctors have even like 50, 100 reviews from others.
Wow.
And then once you have those reviews, then what do you do with it? You can create a beautiful graphic from it. So each review can turn into this beautiful graphic that can go on your social media page. You can have a page full of graphics where 50 people or 10 people or 5 people say, you are God's gift to mankind. You have been practicing, dentistry for the last 17 years and, you take continuing education and they have known you and you are one of the best doctors they know, etc., etc. Now that authority that's being built up can be leveraged in the age of social media, in the age of, internet marketing in so many ways. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you a story. Like I've had clients who tell me that by the time the patient walks in, some people even comment that I cannot believe that I'm getting to see you in person,
Yeah.
because of all this information that's out there that of course was placed, by, savvy marketing people. I mean, trust me, Oprah is not born with a silver spoon. She didn't jump out of the heaven, Right. She was created by her people and herself, because if you trace back the history of Oprah, she was, in the beginning, a nobody. And then she became the Oprah, you know what I mean? It's just all created over time, over a 10, 20-year period. But I'm not saying you have to be an Oprah, but I'm saying you can be seen as an expert, as an authority in your field. So that's an example of, one of the ways we innovate, one of the ways we come up with a solution that makes it easy for the doctors, but at the same time, it leverages powerful influence principles.
When it comes to online reviews, there are the usual suspects. The person who yells at you through their keyboard. The guy who gives you 1 star because he got a parking ticket outside your office. Oh, and of course, the lady who wasn't 100% satisfied with the paint color on your walls. The world of online reviews isn't always fair. And chances are, if you're not actively asking customers to review your business, you're probably going to get more bad than good. That's why there's Podium. Podium has helped thousands of businesses use text messaging to collect hundreds of customer reviews on the sites that matter most. The best part is it's super easy. It takes 30 seconds or less for your customer to leave a review on their phone, which is proven to get you a lot more reviews. To see a free demo and learn how Podium can help your business's online reputation, visit podium.com/podcast or call 1-833-276-3486 today. Mention this ad for additional savings.
That's awesome. Years ago, when I used to work for a DSO in Arizona, we did all kinds of marketing, and I was over the insurance department. That's my expertise. Is I deal with dental insurance and help practices understand which PPOs to participate with, how to negotiate, how to get out of insurance carriers, as well as how to leverage your practice from a marketing perspective in using the insurance participation panels in an effort to capture the greatest number of patients that you can. And over the years, it's evolved. The marketing concept has evolved to where, being in network with PPOs, definitely you're going to get patients, but that might be the best strategy. The type of patient that comes in for some PPO plans is not even worth accepting participation from some of those networks, whether it be the fees may be too low, or you have patients that have this entitlement mentality where they want everything for free, or at an unsustainable discount level. So we put together this quote unquote name brand marketing approach, and it speaks to exactly what you just mentioned. And I never really realized the tie. I always thought, people people don't know this doctor's name. People don't know who this doctor is, and frankly, people probably don't care because they're getting thousands, if not hundreds and thousands of marketing pieces, whether it be through direct mail, media, email, online media. They're getting marketed to them by hundreds of dentists, even dentists not in their community. Like I get on my Facebook page, I get doctors in D.C. I live in Utah, and I get doctors in D.C. that appear on my feed. I'm like, I probably would never go to them. I live 2,000 miles away. So what we did is we put together this name brand marketing approach where we partnered with Costco and Target because those were well-recognized brands. People didn't know who Dr. Chris Smith was. But they did know who Costco was. They knew who Target was. And what we found is that when we partnered with these two institutions and had their logos appear on the website, on the marketing material, whether it be on Facebook or direct mail, we had a huge, the response was overwhelming. It was way different than when we just promoted Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris Smith he's not a real doctor, so don't Google. Well, there probably is a Dr. Chris Smith, but I'm just using it as an example. And I think that speaks to what the psychology behind the human mind. They're more willing to recognize a name brand or somebody that's famous or somebody that's put on a pedestal, whether it be you're leasing that trust from whoever you're using. You're leasing the Costco trust, you're leasing the Target trust, or you're leasing the Tony Robbins brand or the name. You know what I mean?
Right.
In fact, Tony Robbins' dentist is a friend of ours, Dr. Craig Spodak. And Dr. Spodak, because Tony Robbins is so open about who his dentist is, he leveraged that, in a big way, and his practice is booming. It is a very busy practice in Florida, and it's this whole concept that you're talking about. I never really made that connection until you mentioned it, which I think is fascinating and phenomenal. So you work with both physicians and DDS, right, and DMD?
Yeah. So our clients are, most of our clients, 70% plus are dentists. We also have around 25 to 30% dermatology clients. We have maybe a decent number of plastic surgeons, other type of professionals in cash pay medicine, if I may use that term. In other words, people pay out of pocket for a service.
Yeah.
And going back to your point about some of these PPOs, you don't want to even work with them because it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, do you want the tail to wag the dog, or do you want to be the man of your own destiny or the woman of your own destiny, right? The problem with not having your own strategy to attract the right clients who appreciate you, who are willing to pay for you, is you have to keep going to the bottom of the barrel, and it's not fun at the bottom of the barrel. It's a lot of hard work, very tiny fish, and it's always the leftover. A lot of times you end up with scraps.
Right.
So one of the best quotes I've heard in sports. I used to live in Chicago, and I was there when Michael Jordan came back and won 3 championships. I remember a quote. I don't know if it was from Phil Jackson at the time or somebody. He said the best defense is the best offense.
Yeah.
And if you're playing offense all the time, and if you're the one who's out there and really, innovating and playing offense, you don't have to worry about survival. You can worry about, creating the future you want for you, your team, your patients. Like I have quite a few clients. There's one guy, I'm not going to mention names. He works 24 hours a week, and he makes $1.7 million. His overhead is 50%. He's a very successful dentist. Of course, it's not overnight success story in 2 years. It took time, and we have been working with him for more than 5 years. Even before us, he was very, he was kind of in tune to marketing. He understood marketing. He understood the human mind and how it works.
Right.
And authority is one of the key influence principles. Another one that I think is probably the number one influence principle of 2018 is called social proof. We tend to do what we see others doing. For example, you're in an elevator and 3 people are facing the back. Mm-hmm. You are the only guy facing the front, even though almost every time people face the front, you will almost feel compelled to turn around because you want to fit in. just a human nature, and it's just the way we are. We like to fit in. And yeah, 1 out of 1,000 may decide to stand the opposite way, but most of us, 95%, we will do what we see others doing. But this is why, the entire world has changed on its head. Like, brands don't mean anything anymore. Like, I mean, there used to be a time when, you would see companies spend billions of dollars and they dominated. I'm sure you're the Procter and Gamble, right? Tide and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Amazon can sell a no-name, battery or no-name detergent. And as long as there are hundreds of people saying it's a good detergent or a good battery, people don't care.
Yeah.
Because they trust those reviews 10 times more than this thing called Tide or thing called brand.
Yeah, like the Dollar Shave Club.
Exactly. I mean, it just came from nowhere and was sold for $1 billion, right? Yeah. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. I mean, Amazon is run by social proof. It's one of the largest companies on the planet right now. Uber, Airbnb, they are 100% social proof. They don't even have a product for growth. They don't have hotels. They don't have cabs. It's just social proof. That's it. And so social proof, I think, is amazingly powerful because we believe others. If other people think something is good, we think something is good. So we innovated quite a bit on this space. So we have this product called growmyreviews.com. So growmyreviews.com is a product where any of your listeners, if they're interested, they let us know. We'll give them a trial so they can try it out at no cost. Growmyreviews.com, the way it works is it helps you get reviews from your happy clients. And it uses Dr. Robert Cialdini. He wrote a book on influence to make that happen. So when somebody is giving you a compliment, they're saying, hey, thanks a lot for taking care of my gums. They're not bleeding anymore. You say something like, this means a ton to me. I really appreciate it. Do you mind if I send you a quick text? Can you kind of write a quick review for me? It works like a charm. And the software allows you to send a quick text. It links to the profiles you care about. So Facebook or Google or Yelp, whatever you pick. And just from their own mobile device, remember they're already logged into Facebook and Google and so forth on their mobile phones. They write a beautiful review for you in that moment.
Yeah.
So Cialdini talks about, leveraging the moment. He says when people are feeling grateful, that's called reciprocity. If at that moment you get them to do something, they're 3 times more likely to do it. But what typically happens is, the system sends an email at the end of the day or, random email and all that stuff. And first of all, people don't check emails. Second of all, when that email or text comes 4 hours later, they're not thinking about you. They're not feeling grateful to you. They're thinking about the soccer practice they're running late for, or they're thinking about 20 other things that's on their mind. So you who were a hero to them when they were talking to you 3 hours ago, now is at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're on the bottom of a to-do list, you never go up to the top. So,
right.
So doctors get frustrated. They're asking 100 people. They get one review or all the reviews on one place. It's not on the websites like Google and Facebook because those are the authority websites. So a review on an authority website is a lot more powerful than a review on any website. Because, these authority names people know. Hey, everybody knows Google. Everybody knows Facebook. So the idea is that you can't fool Facebook and Google. So if a review on Facebook is worth 5 times a review on some no-name website.
Right. Yeah, and I like that. Getting the patient involved when kind of like that whole the painful analogy of strike when the iron is hot. I don't know why people use that. It's probably because most people have never been branded, right?
Right.
Like as a kid, I was actually branded by the tribe that we live with, and it's a painful process to strike while the iron is hot. But that's the whole concept, right? Is if the out of sight, out of mind theory.
Right.
When it's at the forefront of the patient's mind, that's when you want to ask for that review. It's funny because we have a ton of clients that use various different companies for online reviews. And, some of them work great, some of them don't. The one that you mentioned, growmyreviews.com, I'm checking that one out. And I think you guys have it on the right side of things. You guys have it spot on, where the doctors that ask for the reviews right then and there, of course, we hear that you don't want to have the reviews done in the practice because, Google will track the IP. Is that true? Google tracking.
That is absolutely true. That's why we do not give them an iPad. We just literally send a text to their mobile.
Gotcha.
Because when they're writing from their own mobile, Google knows that they're coming from this particular device, BlackBerry, and Google knows that that's their device because it sees them coming from that device all the time, right? And of course everybody has internet these days, so they're just using their own internet through whoever the provider is, AT&T or Verizon.
Yeah.
And absolutely true. So don't give them an iPad and say, hey, write a review for me. You'll get blacklisted.
And it's challenging too, because there's so many companies out there that say you got to build those reviews, and they do this and that. And we have one client that got 300 reviews in 1 year, and another client that used the same service that got 20. And what we've noticed is that the practice that had, the practice was interactive, the one that got 300 reviews, I think to date, they get over 50 patients just from online searches a month.
Right.
And combine that with what they're doing on the marketing side, their own personal outreach through other different marketing techniques that they use. What we see as PPO experts is that as they increase their patient flow and increase their own means of marketing, they're not fully dependent on the patients finding them on the PPO directories. We naturally see these clients go more and more and more out of network with insurance carriers, kind of what you said in terms of controlling your own destiny and not letting the tail wag the dog. And I think that's the reason why we have you on today, is because, we can't stress enough of the importance of finding innovative ways to Imagineer, like pulling the words out of your mouth there on your quote, Imagineering, using a partner like you to Imagineer a marketing concept that replaces the need of PPO participation. I get it that many offices, they do PPO participation because it's difficult to go out and network with many plans. But the reality is that when you have a significant number of new patients coming in, you have a lot more patience to learn the out-of-network game with insurance carriers. So I like what you're sharing with us today. So in terms of if a doctor is interested in learning more from you, of course they can check out the other podcast. Gary's podcast is almost a full hour long, and same thing with Dr. Mark Casas, both of which we are we love those guys to death, and we listen to their podcast every day. But if somebody wants to learn directly from you, outside of the two websites that you shared with us, the Ekwa.com. Did I pronounce it right? Ekwa or Ekwa?
EKWA.com.
Okay.
Then, of course, growingdentist.com. That's my podcast. So maybe people can check out. I have done 80 to 100, podcasts with all kinds of people. Of course, with your buddy Jordan as well. So I know you were not there that day, but I did a podcast with Jordan.
Yeah.
So he's sharing his wisdom on, what to do and what not to do, and all kinds of interesting topics we talked about. So those are the two main websites. And doctorschoiceawards.org, it's free. Check it out. If you are interested in growing your reviews, you can email me, Naren, which is Naren. That's Nancy, Apple, Reagan, Edward, Nancy at Ekwa.com. And may just mention you heard me on this podcast with Ben, and we would send you a 2-month, account to try out growmyreviews.com. Also, we have lots of other products. If you are interested, just go to the URL growthclub.ekwa.com. So Growth Club, one word. So we have around 9 other products. Doctor and Me TV, where we create videos featuring the doctor, and then we use those videos in advertising on Facebook and so forth. We have socialproof.co, which is not only getting the reviews, but are you using the reviews at the right moment to make people want to say yes to you? A lot of people will have 300 reviews, but they're not using it at the right moment when people are thinking of you. We have something called offourpatients.com. It's an artificially intelligent chatbot that sits on your computer and talks to your patient and creates leads for you. That's one of the best products we have ever come up with. People love it. Again, if you are interested, let us know. We'll let you try it for free. Just again, email Naren@ekwa.com. So we have tons of stuff. Just go to growthclub.ekwa.com. We do take only a limited number of clients for our VIP service where they get everything. The reason is we have to put a lot of hours, so minimum 30 hours of marketing every month for these VIP clients. So we are limited by how many clients we can take in any given month, new clients. And 90% of our clients never leave us, so it is an interesting business model. So we focus on making the phone ring, making those 500,000 phone calls go to 600,000, and we have an amazing relationship with our clients. They become our friends. They become our partners. So just check out Ekwa.com. Any questions, reach out to us. We would love to help you. And we would even, do a review of your marketing and give you some tips if you're interested. So reach out to us.
Well, I've been very impressed. I think your approach is very, very comprehensive from a marketing perspective. And it hits all the new innovative things. The Imagineering aspect of what you talk about in terms of marketing, you got me convinced. I'm looking at all these websites that you put on and all the reviews that you got for yourself and all the people that are rating you and reviewing you. These are some very well-known professionals in the industry. So what we'll do is we will post all of the contacts, Naren's email, as well as all the websites that he mentioned here on our podcast. Check out the show notes, or just expand those show notes on your iTunes or any other media listening device that you have to see all the different websites and Naren's contact information. Naren, any closing thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I've always felt you have a choice with life. Either you take control and you lead your life, or the life leads you and you're just living day by day, just hating every morning. I personally work with doctors who control their lives, who lead their lives, who say, here is where I want to end up, and then they go and make it happen. And having worked with so many doctors like that, who they don't like to work hard, they like to work smart. Of course, I would suggest you do the same thing. Again, like, you don't have to worry about step number 29 or, mile number 29. You just worry about the next 100 yards. Yeah. Just the next step, to be honest. It's like driving at night. Just take one step. Step one, I would say, is try to understand what marketing is. It's really simple. It's about helping people know you and then helping them choose you. To help them choose you, you have to leverage these principles like authority, social proof. And once you understand the basics, then figure out who can implement it for you. I personally think you need a single person or a company, because this way they're not going to blame each other and you go round and round in circles. They're going to be accountable. So those are my final thoughts. And one last tip I would leave you with. I love success. So I've been studying all my clients, and I've been noticing 3 attributes of our most successful clients. Number one, they have a growth mindset. They always look at a glass that's half full and they'll say, hey, who do I thank for the full half? And then can I work with them to make the rest of the glass full? As opposed to the ones with the scarcity mindset, they also see the same glass, but they're saying, who do I blame for the half empty piece, and who do I beat up?
Right.
And you don't want to work with people like that. It's just not worth your life. Just life is short. Work with people with growth mindsets. And all my clients, or many of my clients who do stay with us, the 90% I talked about, they have that mindset. If they don't, usually we don't work with them. Second is they are team players. What I mean is they believe in teamwork. So they don't think they know everything. They realize we all have to be good at something. And then we have to partner with others who are really, really good at the pieces we are not good at. So they work in a very respectful way. It's almost like 2 people sitting on a table, on the same side of the table, talking to each other, listening to each other, learning from each other, and growing together. So I never try to tell, my dentist how to do my dentistry, because I took the time to pick him because I know what he's doing. But the same way, work with your other partners, have a good team, like somebody like Jason in your corner, somebody like Ben in your corner, somebody, perhaps who's a great accountant in your corner. So take your time to pick the right people to partner with, and then cultivate this awesome, team approach based relationship based on mutual trust and respect. And the last and the most important mindset I see with the most successful people is they appreciate. They say thank you. Like in our business, we have 180 people. So at different parts of the life of our VIP clients, they might be in touch with one of 18 different teams. So just a tiny thank you motivates people like nothing you can imagine. Yeah. It sounds so simple and stupid, but it is the magical words, in the language. It's just say thank you. Just say, I appreciate you. It can go miles, Yeah. Like beating people up and telling them why they suck doesn't make them try harder for you. Like I was at a coffee shop the other day, and this woman was, serving coffee, and this guy was snapping at her. I mean, this poor woman, she's, anyways, I don't want to get into it, but I mean, let's try to make life better for all of us, and let's try to look for the good in each other. And I think that is one of the most successful attributes of people I see who are happy and who are successful and who have amazing people working really hard for them.
Yeah, I love that. I think the positive mindset, the mindset of abundance, all those things that you mentioned that make for a great client. I often ask myself, how can I be a better vendor? Or how can I be a better subscriber, because we all use different vendors and different services. We always want to keep our A game on and wow the client. But one trick that I've learned about influencing those that are serving us, is that you will get the very, very best service from those serving you when you follow the three things that you mentioned: growth mindset, team player, you appreciate, you say thank you. The kindness aspect of things goes a long way, in terms of building a business and getting other vendors to be really extremely loyal to you. We have vendors that work for us that are extremely loyal, that do above and beyond what we pay them for. And that's simply because they always comment that, the way we treat them is above and beyond how others treat them. And I think that's how you influence people to really, really commit to you and be loyal to you, is that last part that you mentioned, is the appreciation, the say thank you. It's magic. It just motivates people.
It's magic.
Yeah,
exactly. And a lot of times they're doing 99 things right for you. So when you at least say thank you for some of those 99 things, and yes, share the feedback, because when you have that kind of an amazing trust-based relationship, when you tell them something, they're going to listen to you very intently.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, here he goes again. The only time I hear from him is,
when he complains.
Exactly. And for me, it doesn't matter. But, in my business, it's people driven. So I've tried this. I've tried every other approach. Trust me, I'm an engineer. I try things. Beating people up doesn't work.
Yeah.
Inspiring people works. Believing in people works. Appreciating people works.
Yeah.
And it's hard though, because I think most of us who have type A personalities, and we want everything to be perfect, and we only see what's wrong and we don't see what's right. But it's something that we all have to develop. And, and sometimes it's good for your own health too, because if you're only looking for what's wrong, you will never be happy.
Yeah.
Your wife will leave you, your husband will leave you, because nothing is good enough.
Yeah. And you have high blood pressure all the time too.
Exactly. So this actually, having been, and still kind of calling me like a recovering alcoholic or recovering, so I'm not perfect, but it's so valuable, just it makes your life better and the life of those around you better. And we're all going to die one day. So why not try to be a positive force in each other's lives?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have a personal experience with you. Being positive and kind with us. Last week, me not getting the recording devices to work. And, as much as I just get so irritated that people sometimes waste my time, and I don't verbally say, I'm so mad at you for wasting my time. The kindness and generosity that we share with one another, and what you've shared with me during that whole hiccup last week, it just goes to show who you are. And if I were to make a decision on the spot today to do business with you based upon what I know about you, Naren, I would do business with you, honestly, because you're just a fantastic person, and just your attitude about things, even off the air, have just been phenomenal. I think you really walk what you teach, and I want to encourage our listeners to reach out to you. There's a lot of great podcasters that are out there, but what you say, honestly, what you have shared on this podcast, what I've listened on Gary Takis' show and Mark Costas' show, there's a lot of new things I've never heard of. And so when you say you're an Imagineer, I believe you. I think you're definitely an Imagineer, the way that you represent yourself. So thank you for being who you are, and thank you for spending so much time with us on our podcast today and sharing all these wonderful gems with our listeners. We're going to post all the information on the show notes about you, and hopefully that people reach out to you and get a hold of you. So for those of you that are listening today, reach out to Naren. He is just a gold mine of information, a pearl on many levels. So Naren, again, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you very much, Ben. I really appreciate it. And say hi to your friend who's expecting his child. So
absolutely,
we're gonna pray for him. And I do appreciate your generous comments. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Thank you. And then we'll update everybody about Jordan's wife's status during our next podcast next week. But in the meantime, everybody have a great day. Have a safe drive back home or a safe drive to work. And we wish all of you the best of success.